Today we're going to work over some TVs. Got a few things in them. These are just regular run-of-the-mill picture tube TVs. Circuit boards, got some little chips in it, a little bit of silver and stuff in those, some little silver in that. But the rest of it is just, a little copper and stuff like that. And then you'll have a little bit of aluminum in some of them, some stainless. This thing's full of copper, but it's hard to get out, so I just put it in as like shred. But there's a whole bunch. I'll go through and do these circuit boards later. And then right up here, this piece, big chunk of copper around the top and around the inside. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's get some of this off here with some wires going on it. And this little guy right here, that's solid copper in there. You definitely want to get that one out. Start clipping and cutting. This old picture tubes that Grandma had and you don't know what to do with. We're going to take them apart and fix it where you'll get a little something out of it. All the little pieces of wire, a bunch of low-grade copper wires. This little piece on top, you will break that, gas will come out. It's not good to breathe, so you gotta be careful. Pop it straight up. Wire on this guy. Him off. Some more speaker wire. Get that out of the way. Get this guy loose. Cut here. Little wire ties. And this is just copper wire that's covered up in like electrical tape. They just wrap. You just take a knife and cut it and just pull the copper wire out, and you have some places it'll be number 1, some places number 2. Most of the time it's number 2 because it's got a little bit of a coating on. Alright, take this guy loose, double check it with a magnet. That bolt's no good. See, stainless steel, put it in stainless steel pipe. There's another one on here we used to see. Yep. On some of these, especially on the computer monitors, like the picture tube monitors, one of these bolts will be, see, stainless. Most people just throw those away. Stainless steel. Get a 5-gallon bucket with that, it weighs a bunch. At 50 cents or so. I don't know where you're from, but around here in Oklahoma, we only get around 50 cents a pound for the stainless. Ease this glue loose. Get her working her way up. Some people just hit it with a hammer and break it. I don't like inhaling the gas. Copper on the inside, copper on the outside. You just break this with a hammer. It gets right out and you get it right to it. In a minute I'll show you how to do it. Pop these dudes out. So my scrap yard won't take the plastic TV stuff, but if you take the plastic off of it, since this thing, it's got that metal ring around it and it's got lead and other stuff inside here, they'll take these. You gotta be careful. If you haul them around too much, they'll explode and break it up. Hit stuff, they'll pop. Don't want to leave this piece of stain or metal over here. The little speaker. There you, little speaker. For good metal. Plus that's where my magnets come from. Alright, let's clip all the wires off here. All our low grade wire. 5-gallon bucket of that wire does pretty good. Save that. There's all my wires. Cut all these loose. There's all the wires off there. A little piece of plastic out of the way. There we go. All this in our bucket. There's a little piece of circuit board there. Most of my circuit boards will be in shred pile. I'll go ahead and remove the little chips off of it. I save all those for gold recovery. So I'll pull all that off and the rest of it go in a shred pile. Little wires. And then again, check this stuff because a lot of times, sometimes it's steel. See, that's steel. No good. But a lot of these chips got gold in them. And some of your connections will be gold. Not too many on these older TVs, but some. And you'll have that'll have copper in it. There's not too bad to pull the copper out of that. And each one of these little connectors, the buttons, if it has that little button, there's a little dab of silver in each one of those buttons. So I usually clip those off and put them in a bucket, and we'll do a video sometime of how to remove the silver. Alrighty. Get all this situated here. Got one more. Ooh, earthquake. Guess we're not doing that one. So I got that big one out there. We just got to get him out of here. Get him out without destroying the camera. Give me one good break here to get this thing going here. Make room for him to come out. Slide him down. Come here, big boy. This one's a good one. Since it's bigger, hopefully this is going to be bigger. Woo! Let me back up a little bit so you can get a good shot of this TV. It's a big one. Get some of the shot anyway. How about that one? Is that better? Yeah, that'll be better. You get a little bit more of it. Let's get some of this loose. How about you guys? But I get excited when I get to go to copper. I'll save scrap iron and all the other stuff, but I enjoy getting to the copper. And periodically I'll have to take a magnet through the yard, gather up all the screws that I accidentally dropped. We don't have any flats. Nobody likes to have the flats. Try to get most of those in the back of the truck. And then when I go to the scrap yard, I got me a little broom and I just sweep all those toward the end, close to the pile. That way nobody runs over them. I'll scrape them up and throw them over in the pile. That way they can remove all of them. Because they've got to deal with this. The magnets, they pick them all up when they do that. So that way you don't worry about anybody getting flat. Alright, I got one here somewhere. I still got one. Oh, I had one hiding. Premature beating. There we go. Rid of the junk plastic. Look at the size of the circuit board in that bad boy. Yes. Let's see. Oh, looky there. We'll have to get the sockets out for that one. It's not even Phillips no more. Let's go to cutting. Let's retrieve the goodies. And in all these TV picture tubes, there's a little strip here. Looks kind of like steel or whatever. This is copper, but it's got a coating on it, but it's still number 2 copper. I always retrieve those because all you do is cut those off. You got to mess with them and you got to clean them. Only thing you can do to those is to cut the, of course, the wire ties off of it, but They also have little pieces of brass, the little crimps. The little crimps that be on there. You look at them. Little brass right there. You just cut both sides of that, put that in your brass bucket. And eventually you'll have a big giant bucket full of them. And usually on a bucket of brass, I can get around $100 out of them at least. Sometimes a little more, depends on the prices. I've got upwards to 150 for a bucket. That's a 5-gallon bucket, it's just a regular bucket. There we go. Remove all the wires off this bad boy. Get to this coil and see how big it's actually going to be. Oh, let's get all this stuff out of there. Let's test our stuff, make sure it's stainless. Uh-oh, bolt's not, but that dude is. There should be one more usually. There we go, let's check that one. Good. Stainless bolt. A lot of times, some of them, if they're cheaper TVs, they'll be just steel, but you'll get some of them. Now look at the size of that bad boy. Oh, looks like Miss Millie's visiting us. Hello, Miss Millie. Copper, copper. All right, let's see what kind of circuit board we got going on here we can retrieve out of this thing. Wires. We've got a circuit board for the connectors, circuit board for the buttons. Look at that. That's a big old circuit board. And I believe there's the one that has aluminum sheet covers. You got copper on each one of these little stuff. You got your gold chips here and there. There's not a lot in them, but instead of throwing them away, if you hang on to them, and eventually you'll have a bunch of them. You sit down with your acids and stuff and dissolve it down, and then get you a big old chunk of gold. Eventually I will get to that point. I'm starting to get a good collection of them. I've got probably a gallon bucket of just the chips, the gold sided chips off computers. I've got a 5-gallon bucket of them bad, not 5 gallon, 1 gallon bucket. You can carry it away. I'm trying to feed you a fishing story. You know how fishing stories go. It's always way bigger than what they are. All these in the bucket. You know, work a full-time job like I do, and then come home, and in the evenings, you know, you grab a couple TVs off the side of the road, go home and just rip them apart. Then you got your extension cord. That buddy still have the plastic on it. A couple pieces of nickel-plated brass on the end of that. Just pop them out of there. They come out pretty easy. And you end up with a bucket full of just low-grade wire. End up with a bunch. Break that little guy off because we don't need no plastics. Which you got to be careful. There's some guys in there. All these little. There will be some brass, and sometimes there's gold plated in there. We're about to run out of sunlight, so if you like my videos, follow me. But please share it, hit me some likes, and we'll catch you on another one.